For 3 years, my wife and I quietly rearranged our entire lives around one promise. Our daughter Chloe was going to become a lawyer. It had been her dream since she was young. Even as a child, she had a talent for arguing about everything: school rules, fairness between siblings, why bedtime should be later, why vegetables should be optional. Teachers used to laugh and say, "She is going to be a lawyer someday. She's going to be a lawyer someday." We believed them. Chloe was sharp, confident, and determined. So when she called us one evening and told us she had been accepted into what she described as a prestigious law school in Boston, my wife and I felt something rare and powerful. It wasn't pride exactly. It was relief. Relief that the long years of raising a child had led to something meaningful. Relief that she had a future bigger than the small town we had always lived in. From that moment on, everything changed. Law school was expensive. We knew that even before Chloe started her first semester. Tuition alone was more money than my wife and I had ever spent on anything in our lives. But when Chloe called during her first semester and told us how overwhelming it was, how the workload felt impossible, and how everyone around her seemed smarter and more prepared, we did what parents do. We told her we believed in her. Then we asked what she needed. At first, it was simple. She needed textbooks that weren't covered by tuition. Then she needed tutoring sessions to keep up with the reading assignments. After that, it became housing costs, then study materials, then something she called wellness expenses. Chloe said the pressure of law school was affecting her mental health, and that she needed therapy and better living conditions so she could focus. We never questioned any of it. The story made sense. Elite schools are difficult. Everyone knows that. Every Sunday evening, Chloe would call us. Those phone calls became the center of our week. She would talk about her professors, about late nights in the library, about endless pages of legal reading that made her eyes hurt. Sometimes she sounded exhausted. Sometimes she sounded proud. Either way, we listened carefully and encouraged her. After each call ended, my wife and I would sit together at our kitchen table with a calculator and a stack of bills. We would figure out how to make the numbers work. I took on extra shifts at work whenever they were available. My wife started selling some of her old jewelry online. We stopped taking vacations. I kept driving my 15-year-old truck even though the heater had been broken for 2 winters. My wife postponed medical appointments because she said they weren't urgent. None of it felt like suffering. We told ourselves it was temporary. It was an investment in our daughter's future. We were proud to be the kind of parents who sacrificed. There's a strange pride that comes with that role. When you're raising a child, you stop measuring your life by your own comfort. Instead, you measure it by what you can give someone else. Every dollar we spent on Chloe felt like proof that we were doing our job correctly. Looking back now, I understand something painful. We thought we were building her future. But in reality, we were funding something else entirely, something we couldn't see, something that had nothing to do with law school. 3 years passed like that. 3 long years of careful budgeting and quiet sacrifices. Then finally, the moment we had been waiting for arrived. Graduation. Chloe told us the ceremony would be held on campus in Boston. My wife and I decided not to tell her we were coming. We wanted to surprise her. We imagined walking up behind her after the ceremony, hugging her while she laughed and complained that we had embarrassed her in front of her classmates. We left before sunrise and drove 12 hours to get there. The university campus looked exactly like the kind of place Chloe had always described. Old brick buildings, tall trees lining the walkways, students carrying heavy books as they crossed the lawns. We walked into the administrative building and approached the front desk. I told the registrar we were there for the graduation ceremony and proudly said my daughter's name. Chloe Williams. The woman behind the desk typed something into her computer. Then she looked up at me in a way that made my stomach tighten immediately. It wasn't confusion. It was pity. She asked me to repeat the name. I did. She typed again, then leaned back slightly in her chair and spoke carefully. Sir, Chloe hasn't been enrolled here since her first semester. For a moment I thought I had misunderstood her. I asked her to check again. She did. The answer didn't change. Chloe had withdrawn from the university nearly 3 years earlier. I don't remember leaving the building. I remember sitting in the truck in the parking lot. My wife was staring straight ahead through the windshield. Neither of us spoke for a long time. 3 years of tuition payments. 3 years of phone calls. 3 years of sacrifice. Something was very wrong. Eventually, I did something I should have done much earlier. I hired a digital investigator. Within an hour, he called me back. He had found Chloe. She wasn't in Boston. She wasn't in any law school library. She was living in Bali. The investigator sent me a link. It was a private social media account. An influencer page. The username wasn't Chloe's real name, but the photos left no doubt about who it was. There she was sitting beside an infinity pool, overlooking the ocean. In another photo, she was holding a designer handbag while standing on a beach at sunset. In another, she was laughing with a group of other influencers inside a beautiful white villa. The captions were cheerful and carefree. One of them said something I will never forget. Living my best life on the bank of mom and dad. Another photo showed a luxurious villa surrounded by palm trees with a caption that read, Law school is stressful, but self-care is important. Except there were no law books anywhere. No classrooms, no professors, luxury villas, and the sunshine. Then I found the photos she had sent us during exam season. The ones she had claimed were taken in the university library. They were fake, completely fake. She had taken them in her apartment using a green screen behind her chair. The background image of the library had been digitally added afterward. For 3 years our daughter had been performing a role. The struggling law student, the exhausted scholar, the daughter working tirelessly toward a prestigious career. And we had believed every word. I didn't call her that night. I didn't scream. Instead, I did something quiet. I called the bank. Every tuition transfer from the last 2 years was reported as suspicious activity. I canceled the credit card she used for emergency expenses. I froze every account connected to her. Then I sent her one final message. It contained a screenshot from her Bali account, showing the villa and the ocean view. Below it I wrote a single sentence. The library looks beautiful. Hope you learned how to survive, because the scholarship just ended. 10 minutes later, my phone exploded with calls. Chloe wasn't confident anymore. She wasn't an influencer living her best life. Suddenly, she was desperate. She said she had been finding herself. She said she needed time to figure out what she really wanted from life. She said we were overreacting. Overreacting. After 3 years of lies, after 3 years of using our love like a credit card, I told her something simple. If she wanted to find herself, she could start by finding a job. We didn't try to recover the money. Some battles are not worth fighting. Instead, we did something much simpler. We closed the bank. No more transfers. No more emergency cards. No more tuition payments. We sold the house Chloe had always assumed she would inherit. Then my wife and I moved into a small condo by the sea. It's quiet there. In the evenings we sit on the balcony and watch the sunset over the water. For the first time in years, our lives feel calm. No emergency phone calls. No financial crises. No performances. Just silence. And strangely enough, that silence feels like peace. There is a dangerous myth in parenting. The idea that love means endless sacrifice. But sacrifice without boundaries isn't love. If you carry someone who has perfectly good legs, you aren't helping them walk. You're teaching them they never have to. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is close the bank forever.